A young African elephant has recently given birth, and now she suckles her precious baby. The calf will stay close by her side for at least 10 years. But her success as a mother depends on how well both of them are protected and guided around their empire by an older, bigger, and more experienced female, the matriarch. The matriarch is usually the oldest and largest female among a herd of female elephants and their young. All are closely related, and this gives them a strong interest in cooperating when faced with danger. But it is always the matriarch who takes the lead, confronting enemies head-on. Approaching cautiously, she spreads her ears wide, increasing the apparent size of her head and framing her tusks in a show of strength designed to intimidate the most powerful predators. The lioness may not be interested in anything other than a drink, but these big cats kill and eat baby elephants, and the matriarch is not taking any risks. She herds the females into a defensive ring, with their young in the center, and they will hold this formation until the lioness has moved on. It is a tense moment. The lioness may be outnumbered, but she is still full of cunning, and she may not be alone. Satisfied that on this occasion there is no threat of an attack, the elephants break rank and the matriarch leads them away. Young elephants are the key to the matriarch's vigilance. Their long period of dependency demands such a powerful commitment, and they grow up in a female-dominated herd where nursing and caring mothers are watched over by the most experienced female. She will be over 40, and she may have inherited the mantle of responsibility from her mother. Now she is followed by her own daughters and sisters with their young male and female calves, each a precious investment to be cherished. The matriarch's responsibility involves much more than just looking out for danger. Her empire is vast, and she must also guide the herd safely around it, visiting the best feeding and drinking places in the different seasons of the year. While the young mothers are preoccupied with the immediate needs of their calves, the matriarch leads the way. Their trust in her is total. Modern African elephants have lived like this for at least 1 million years, plodding along pathways pioneered by their ancestors 65 million years ago. At their evolutionary peak, their empire covered most of the African continent. But now, after thousands of years of conflict with people, their range and numbers are much reduced. One country where they still flourish is Botswana in southern Africa. Northern Botswana, where the elephants live, is part of a flat tableland averaging 1,000 meters above sea level. Its year is divided into 2 distinct seasons, wet and dry. It is either flooded or a semi-desert, sparsely vegetated with acacia bush, palms, and woodland. Elephants do well here, particularly as their cause is championed by the Botswana authorities, who recognize the importance of wildlife conservation. The dry season is well advanced, and the matriarch leads the way to permanent water. A 6-month-old calf has not yet learned how to suck up water through its trunk, so it uses its mouth instead, as it does when drinking its mother's milk. Finding this flowing river during the dry season was no lucky accident. The matriarch would have been brought here many times as a youngster, and she would have committed its whereabouts to memory. And now, the youngsters in her care are doing just the same. But calves are always vulnerable, and danger is never far away. The lions are still watching, waiting for an opportunity to strike. Aware that they are being watched, the matriarch leads her family away from the river in tight formation. While there is no need for further defense, something about the lions is not alarming the matriarch this time. A 10-year-old calf still seeks the close physical comfort of its mother's body. But in fact, the tables have been turned, and it is the lions, hardly anticipating that the elephants would march straight up to them, who are the ones put to flight. Something a bit more exposed than a well-guarded baby elephant, like a warthog, might suit the lions better. But warthogs are not easy prey. Their senses are on constant alert. They have very sharp tusks, and they can soon disappear into underground burrows. So the lions hunt them as a team, taking up their positions according to the best available cover. When the moment is right, they launch their attack, closing from different directions to give the warthog little chance of escape. There is no escape from the vice-like jaws clamped onto its windpipe. The warthog has taken its last breath. For any matriarch, living among lions is a perilous business. As many as 1/3 of the young in her care will be singled out and eaten, not just by lions, but by hyenas as well. Where the pride of lions is large, one small pig will not satisfy many hungers. Preoccupied with the two on the Warthog, the Matriarch fails to notice that the herd is strung out behind her and that other lions are interested in those that have fallen behind. The lions will not make a move until they sense a weakness. Could this be it? A mother with her 1-year-old calf falling way behind the herd. Isolated from the matriarch, she turns and goes through her defense routine. Head up, trunk down, tusks forward and ears wide open. Even her tail is held out horizontally. All are clear visual warnings that in this mood, and with a child to protect, she is not worth approaching any closer. The lions are in no hurry. Killing baby elephants is a dangerous pastime, and they will leave them well alone if the odds against success are too high. As the baby elephant and its mother rejoin the safety of the herd, another of their empire's predators prepares for action. These are wild dogs, and their interest is in animals much smaller than elephants. Wild dogs are built for speed and stamina, pack hunters who single out their prey and then chase it relentlessly. Young dogs, the single litter of a dominant male and female, are supported by several subordinate adults. The key to wild dogs' success is cooperation, particularly when hunting. With so many mouths to feed, discipline is vital. The dominant male sets off with his followers, and if the pups are about 10 weeks old, then they too may tag along. Once the lead male has selected an individual impala, its chances of escape are low. It may outrun the dogs at first, but they will take turns as pacemakers and finally run it down. They are not tidy killers, but after a 5-kilometer, 40-kilometer-an-hour chase, the impala will have been too exhausted and shocked to feel much pain. It's just as well. The dogs are under pressure to dismember and consume their kill as quickly as possible. A successful hunt soon attracts vultures and jackals. They're scavengers, and the lightweight jackal can be seen off without the urgent feeding of the pack being much disturbed. But a hyena is a different proposition. Bigger and stronger than a wild dog, it is after the whole carcass, and there may be other hyenas with it. The benefits of cooperation are quickly realized. But now a second hyena arrives, and the dogs must split into two groups to defend their hard-won meal. Losing the first battle to superior numbers is not enough to deter the hyenas. They'll bide their time and try again later. The more the dogs eat, the more tolerant they become. The hooded vultures can now feed quite close, and even the hyenas sense a new opportunity. As the dogs finally lose interest in their kill, so the scavengers move in. And the little jackal is nothing if not persistent. The elephant's empire is a complex web of animals and plants living and reproducing as best they can. Their varied lifestyles show how many different ways there are to do this. The elephant's way to be successful is to live for at least 60 years. Each 24-hour period is a challenge, particularly in the dry season when food and water are in short supply and temperatures are above 40 degrees Celsius. But keeping cool is not so difficult when 14 litres of hot body blood can be pumped into large, thin ears every minute. By waving these giant flaps, excess heat is lost to the cool air passing over them. Down on the ground, other, less obvious animals lead equally important lives. Here, a rat has just lost its life to a puff adder. A spotted dickup is wary of the snake's presence. Puff adders use special glands in their mouths to home in on their warm-blooded prey, and the dickup has its own youngster to care for. Of 2 eggs hatched, 1 chick has already gone. The survivor is the only hope for a successful breeding season. Bat-eared foxes will also eat baby birds. Their own young are also likely to be attacked by birds of prey, jackals, and big cats, so they are kept out of sight during the day, unless a parent is free to watch over them. The cubs already have the large ears that will help them pinpoint insects below ground in the dead of night. But the champion insect eater here is the aardwolf, a strange kind of hyena that doesn't eat meat. It is getting close to the foxes now and causing some concern. Their young may be safe from the aardwolf, but their arched displays ensure that it keeps its distance. For the aardwolf, 250,000 termites would make a much more satisfying meal. As the dry season takes hold of the empire, turning green leaves yellow and brown, plant food for elephants is in short supply. They are not good at digesting the tough cellulose of plants, and this forces adults to eat up to 150 kilos of food every day. This might take them 16 hours on even a good day. But when they have to work so hard for every mouthful, there is little time for anything else in their 24-hour day. But the matriarch has been through all this before, and now she shows the younger herd members how to dig up grass roots with their feet. When there's no rain and the sun burns their leaves, plants can withdraw essential nutrients below ground, and it is a successful elephant that learns this. The matriarch's responsibility is total. She may not always be at the front of the herd, but every elephant waits for the call or movement from her that will tell them what to do next. And where they go, the cattle egret follows, hoping for insects disturbed by those enormous feet. The relationship between elephants and egrets is casual. There is nothing in it for the elephants, and the egrets come and go as they please. But there is one bird which has formed such close ties with Africa's large mammals that it can no longer live without them. Giraffes are one of those mammals that carry a permanent number of small, starling-like birds called oxpeckers, or tick birds. First impressions are that in return for being allowed to feed on parasites, the oxpeckers keep a lookout for danger, ready to sound the alarm to their feeding or drinking host. But oxpeckers are more selfish than this. They barely raise any alarm, and what they are really after is their host's blood. They are parasites themselves, exploiting animals who can do very little to stop them. They make their living from blood-filled ticks, scabs, and fresh wounds, even earwax and dried skin. They pluck fur to line their tree-hole nests, and they court and mate on the bodies of their hosts. They have become so specialized, they couldn't live anywhere else. But for some reason, they don't live on elephants. Elephants do have ticks, but they also have a first line of defense against sharp claws on their exposed skin. They have their trunks, one of the most versatile organs in the whole animal kingdom. With these, they can spray their bodies with 10 or 15 liters of water at a time, and they can do the same with dust. They can even reach round to their shoulders and tummies and deliver a blast of air to any unwelcome birds. It is perhaps not surprising that oxpeckers lead them well alone. Northern Botswana has been without rain for 5 months. Only the deepest lagoons remain, and even they are shrinking fast. Water is vital to all forms of life, plant and animal, but at times like this it is not so easily found. Some plants, though, can survive by using long roots to tap underground water, and their success attracts animals. The greater kudu is one, a large antelope that rarely needs to drink in the dry season because it is so good at finding the most nutritious and succulent parts of small bushes and plants. The kudu is also able to minimize the wastage of water in all its bodily functions. Elephants are not so well adapted. A day or two without a drink is not serious, but the matriarch must always know where to find standing water. Baboons must drink every day and walk up to 10 kilometers in the dry season just to find good water. Power struggles continue, even in difficult times like this. Junior males will always need to be put in their place. They won't kill him, but if he's the son of a low-ranking female, he is in for a lot more rough treatment over the coming months. It's time the females got their very young out of harm's way. His best option is to retreat to the bushes with the rest of the troop and appease his elders, joining in with a bit of gentle grooming. It calms them all down. Zebras toiling in the heat, their never-ending search for water. One of Africa's most successful large herbivores, able to graze on a wide range of grasses and cropping them close to the ground. But zebras need plenty of water, so they follow the rains as they break around the elephant's empire. And they too can be caught in the worst of the dry season, when hot winds whip dust into suffocating storms. Even the matriarch may never have experienced this sort of thing before. She keeps the herd in a tight, protective huddle, uncertain and isolated on the vast storm-swept plain. For hippos, sunburn and dehydration are serious threats, dry season hazards to be faced every year. They come out of their lagoon at night to feed, but as their favorite grasses dry back, the hippos must walk further to find them. A round trip of 35 kilometers to eat 40 kilos of grass takes time. The burning sun is already upon them. The youngster makes it, but its ailing mother stops just short of the lagoon. As the water recedes, the wildlife becomes more concentrated around its edge. The mud turned over by hippos exposes small animals and plants. Attractive places for cattle egrets and baboons. But for the hippos themselves, things are getting serious. Their lagoon is turning into a mud bath. If it dries up much more, they too will be exposed to the sun. Then they will have to trek across country at night to find somewhere new to live. Without them, the lagoon will be a less productive place. They turn over and aerate the mud, and their dung is a natural fertilizer, driving a food chain that local birds like lily-trotting jacanas and hammerkops depend upon. The hippos can delay their departure by coating their sensitive, hairless skin with mud. But this, in itself, will not be enough to save them. The old mother hippo who stopped short of the lagoon did not survive. She weighs 2 tons, and there is plenty of meat for scavengers. White-backed vultures are one of the first to tear into her flesh. But the vultures have now got some unusual company. Wild dogs, who rarely touch meat they have not killed themselves. The more than passing interest of the dogs in the dead hippo speaks for itself. They must be having real problems running down their usual prey at this difficult time of year. Hyenas and lions follow the dogs and the vultures at night, and within 24 hours, the carcass is stripped of its meat. Bones can provide valuable information. An elephant's chewing teeth appear at intervals during its life. As they wear down and disintegrate, each is replaced from behind by a larger one. The tusk is another kind of tooth, an incisor, and at least 1/3 of its length is anchored deep inside the elephant's head. In an adult bull, even a single tusk might weigh as much as 80 kilos, so to carry 2 of them around requires a very special kind of skull. And this is just what an elephant has. Combining lightness with strength, its skull bones are layered and separated around a latticework of air spaces. It is a marvel of engineering, also providing the surface area for muscles large enough to support the trunk as well as the heavy tusks. It will take years for the skeleton of an elephant to decay completely. The calcium released into the soil will find its way into water and plants, and other animals will one day use it to build their own bones and teeth. What a contrast to the speed with which protein-packed meat from around the skeleton can be converted into the bodies of other animals. In life, the elephant had a strong role to play as a carefully constructed social animal. In its premature death, it is denied any further part in this, but its body is not wasted. It belongs to a dynamic African system in which animals and plants, dead or alive, are in some way contributing to the communities around them. The lioness, then, is just one link in an enormous natural chain. And now that she has found the body of the elephant, she is going to do her best to hang on to it. While she rests between bouts of feeding, the vultures will take their chance. It is the end of the dry season, and scavengers will be finding many carcasses like this. Fresh meat also contains water, so many of their daily needs will be catered for by the elephant's misfortune. The welcome sound of thunder. The rains have arrived at last. The first rains fall as isolated showers. When they become more frequent, the elephant's empire will respond in spectacular ways. Thousands of white-collared pratincoles darken the sky. Their yearly migration has just begun. The pratincoles will stop off at the lagoon for 2 or 3 days for rest and feather maintenance. Feathers for flight, a bird's great asset, but they need them to be fully waterproofed as well. The slowly filling lagoons also provide feeding opportunities. A black egret chases baby fish, shading the water surface, cutting out reflections. Woolly-necked storks go for frogs, attracted to the new shallows to spawn. Their massive beaks can grip these slippery amphibians and maybe break them up a little before swallowing. Things are happening away from the lagoon as well. Wildebeest are starting to drop their calves. The new grass will provide them with fresh grazing for mothers to make milk. If the calves are born at about the same time, each can get lost in a juvenile crowd and be safer from predators. It is often the firstborn, standing alone, who are the most vulnerable. Egyptian geese abandon the lagoon to harvest protein-rich grass seed. They are easily outnumbered here by knob-billed geese, but the early flowering grass produces a glut of seeds, and no bird will go hungry. It helps to take advantage of a lookout. Long grass conceals danger, so the sentry baboon picks a vantage spot while his senior troop members also cash in on the abundant seeds. Tall grass works both ways. Those who are hidden can also be approached. A leopard might find baboon stalking quite easy here, were it not for those keen eyes perched 3 meters off the ground. The zebras may also benefit from feeding close to the vigilant baboon. So might impala. Just a few weeks ago, this lush green field was bare, dry earth. But now, the impala crop grasses and the yellow flowers of devil's thorn, a plant quick to colonize new ground. In this sudden time of plenty, wild dogs no longer need to scavenge dead animals, but they still rely on sight to locate their prey, and the long grass does not help. They can come across potential victims almost by accident, and the hunt is ruined. The dogs are not the only ones adjusting to the new season. The matriarch has safely negotiated another dry season, and the herd members take their cue from her, cooling, resting, and plastering their bodies with fresh mud to ease the onslaught of skin parasites and biting insects. Some youngsters have to learn the hard way that there are no advantages to staying dry and clean. Young elephants appear to be enjoying the madness of the moment. But this is a large herd, probably several that have come together, and it is not difficult for them to experience the threatening sensation of being cut off from their mothers. It could be for the first time ever, and panic sets in. Like the adult female who confronted the lion, the youngster's tail is out. His head is up and his trunk is down. He's frightened. He is ignored by a female who may not know him, and all he needs is the close physical comfort of an elephant that cares, preferably his mother. The older the calves get, the more time they will spend away from their mother's side, particularly the young males. Puberty is now upon them, and they engage in the mini power struggles that will dominate their later years in bachelor herds. An awakening sexual interest in their sisters and female cousins will soon force the matriarch to expel them from the herd. But they will be back, though not for 20 years, and not to the same herd where their female relatives have remained. Two 40-year-old males are visiting the large female herd, still parading some of their differences. Both are in peak sexual condition, their bodies charged with testosterone, the male hormone that makes them aggressive and so attractive to female elephants. Somewhere there are 1 or 2 females in estrus, each with an egg ready to be fertilized, and the bulls know this. They were attracted to the herd in the first place by the special calls and smells of females ready to mate. Now they must find them and fertilize those precious eggs. The pregnant female will carry the developing calf inside her body for 22 months. The matriarch, herself a mother, will assume the greatest responsibility, not only for the female, but also for the new baby after it is born. But her devotion will be equaled by all the females as they pool their resources to help with the calf's survival. If it is a baby girl, it will stay in this herd for the rest of its life, and one day she may herself assume the role of matriarch. The all-powerful female elephant who has risen to the top after 40 years of motherhood and learning, and who now guides younger females and their babies around a vast African empire.